Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, which sits above $30,000. Of course, we'll take a peek over here at the altcoin market, which is a little bit mixed, but the altcoin market cap at least is in the green. Take a look over there at the stock market, which is off to a rough start to start the new week. Of course, we look at the dollar, we look at metals, we look at various other altcoins, and of course, we'll take a peek on any type of financial news that is out there and any type of cryptocurrency news that is out there as we get ready to kick off a new week over here in the market. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on in. You can see here, Bitcoin sitting at $30,600 as we start the week, as Bitcoin's price continued to march up right in here throughout the weekend. It was actually a positive weekend. We actually saw several altcoins also get some pretty decent rips this weekend. You saw Chainlink finally break from its range that it's been in for forever. We talked about Wyckoff accumulation on that thing. It got out this weekend too. We'll get to that here in just a minute. But with Bitcoin now, it has gotten through all of the Fibonacci retracement levels that have existed in this range, dating from back at least in top of July over here to the bottom over here and September, and then shifting its way back upward through all retracements. Of course, we kind of looked at things that are similar to that, like when we're looking back at 2016, the ramp up period. Look at this, right on time. It is finally starting to shift its way up. And of course, looking over there at 2020, this is kind of how it behaved in here, right? Spending similar amount of like 8-hour candles in here, working each zone, stalling on top of the 702, stalling on top of the 702. A couple of candles here to break through the 786, a little bit of back test on top of the 786. And I, for one, am very curious to see, will we see price continue higher here in the next couple of days and finally see that psychological level get taken out that has been just like the wall of worry. And I went through this last Friday when I did Markets in the Morning. I was reading a lot from like my emotional log of back in 2018, talking about how this level is like, you can just watch my own personal emotions, which is why I've like tried to kind of like transpire that through what we've all been through, and especially like this, even this 2020 stuff in here and the liquidations and how people screamed for manipulation. Everybody thought the market was going to go lower. It's what we just saw here in, August and September and October, and we work our way back up. But, point being, when we went through like the emotional log stuff, it's like, this is the psychological level, right? This is where that and I described it in that emotional log of feeling like somebody is standing on my chest, where that all disappeared once we got through that level. And I'm real curious if we can continue at the same rate. If maybe by next couple of days we have the really exciting time period of the market where this thing starts to shift its way out. And so far, it's so good. If things change, of course, we'll address that. But right now, we're above all retracement levels, you guys. So this is pretty exciting to see happening over here for Bitcoin as we kick off Monday morning at $30,500. And of course, as we said, somehow, some way, still just shifting up with that 2015, 2016 schedule, trying to get some exit velocity out of the long range of over 200 days. And will it continue? That's been there for a couple of weeks. So far it has, but we'll see it. We'll see if it does continue to do so. All right, before we dive too deep in here, of course, you can follow me over here on Twitter or x.com, BCBacker. It's the only social media that I do use. Be mindful of scammers trying to convince you to send them money for some investment opportunities, especially if their name is Blockchain Backer, because that's not me. That is some type of scammer trying to take advantage of you. Of course, I did post a new Substack newsletter over here last week, Bitcoin Secret Sauce, Money or Tech. That's at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Of course, you can check out the merch store, and you can check out bcbacker.com for over 40 videos and over 11 hours of content teaching you how to set up your own charts, your own indicators, TradingView, CoinTrader Pro, Common and effective tools, patterns, Wyckoff accumulation, which we'll actually talk about today in Markets in the Morning, along with Elliott wave theory and historical like research and behavior of crypto throughout the past is pretty good stuff in here. Of course, it does include downloadable PDFs in there for you as well, so you can print those out and keep those resources on your computer for yourself. Again, bcbacker.com. All right, Bitcoin on your way. Let's see if we can get this throughout the rest of today. XRP still meandering along, but still at the top of this range it's kind of been in for the last several months. So still waiting for something to come out. I put out a video on Friday, 28-minute video. It's like, hey, here's a 28-minute video about XRP. That's like 20 minutes about Bitcoin. But that's the idea of it all, and having to understand that and once you can kind of wrap your head around those concepts in there, it just kind of makes getting through this a little bit easier and having a better understanding of where the market is at currently. But still, of course, I think the big thing we are waiting for still, even with XRP, is for this bad boy to get out of this range and for euphoria to enter the market. For all the 12Kers, the 23Kers, 2016Kers, all of them to have been wrong-footed, to capitulate back into the market. And like I showed in my emotional log, that's the psychological level. That's where the degening can begin. Once prices get through this area is what my thoughts are. And get prepared for that. So I want to kind of lay a little bit of groundwork too to talk about it real quick, is that once we get through here, what have I been like this? I've been like a a-hole, right? I've been like a jerk down in here that like 12K is not happening, 23K is not happening. We can't take out the lows of 24.7. Anybody thinking differently, that doesn't match Bitcoin's recovery behavior, right? But once we start getting through these levels, we're going to start getting into those retracement levels now. And now it's going to be more of like, okay, this is kind of like the decision making for Bitcoin. Like, we weren't scared of the market at the bottom. We weren't scared of the market right here. But we're going to start getting into levels where now it's going to start being like, okay, these are kind of, we're starting to get into the danger. Sorry, just hit the mic. We're going to get into some kind of like the danger levels up higher. And we're going to issue caution, but be ready, because this is the psychological level where the general public, the general retail crowd will now finally start to become super excited. So we're just kind of getting ready for those conditions to start coming. And we'll get there when we get there. I think the percentage-wise, the opportunity is going to be in the altcoin market. That's just still, I have 100% faith that like that's where the returns are going to be at in this market. But we'll just I'll start showing you guys a lot of stuff that I'm focusing on up above the 32K level. I don't think 32K is going to be the stopping point. I don't think 33, 34, 35, 36. But when we get a little bit higher than that, that's where I'm going to start really showing a lot of stuff. And we start issuing the caution. And what you're going to have to recognize and be prepared for is just like fighting against the herd in here. They're all going to flip bullish. And so they're going to say, you're just a stupid bear. And I appreciate that you guys always tell me, hey, don't worry about the haters. and this isn't like me worrying about the haters. This is always me trying to communicate on my channel and like give you an inside look of what sentiment is like and have a real gauge of sentiment. Like we can look at factors like the fear and greed index or whatever, right? Like that stuff is just like a measurable data point. But from my end, I do get to see it. And it's actually been since the beginning. I've always shared that with you. Whenever you have retail really offsides, I always love to share that with you because it's one like little extra advantage that we have. And so we'll be mindful of that, of when we get through here, does it turn euphoric? And do the bulls chastise the bears? That's the thing. Right now, they've been kind of doubt that, the bears haven't been given a hard time, but I think up higher they will. So either way, I don't know. We'll get there when the time comes, and I think we're still waiting for that to happen for XRP and then for altcoins to kick off and have some fun. Let's dive into the stock market. Rough start over here for the stock market as we're getting opened. The leaders of the day, you did actually have Coinbase in pre-market. It was actually one of like the only ones in the green here, but it looks like it has shifted now down into the red. So let's just run through the indexes really fast. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 200 points. S&P down 26 points, NASDAQ down 95. So you get the NASDAQ down 0.2% at 0.66%, the S&P down 0.61%, and the Dow Jones down 0.62%. Very similar data points. Concerning here, is this thing going to get carried away in here? Thank goodness crypto is holding up okay at this point. But this is, don't want to see this get carried away too far over here for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I think one of the interesting things happening here is, okay, you got the DXY that's still just been waddling sideways, but like we saw for the last couple of weeks, you saw gold really gaining some steam over the last 2 weeks. Now sitting in 1975, kind of a pause out here as we start the week. Last week it closed at 1980. Huge move over here. Look at the monthly candle. It's a massive monthly candle happening in there for gold. I mean, you can just throw in all kinds of moving averages, and do you have anything substantial happening in there right on the monthly time frame? Let's look at the weekly time frame. Weekly back above all weeklies, monthly holding above 50 month. So pretty decent size move for gold. Again, this is one of those things that we have talked about on the channel for a year. I think it's been maybe almost a year since I've written that newsletter, the original one, where I totally outlined it, that inverse relationship between equities and between gold. So this is an interesting phenomenon, how strong gold has been during a period of weakness for the Dow Jones Industrial Average and for the United States stock market. So keep our eyes on that. Again, in technically speaking, in the thing that I've said for the last year is it's really still just ranging. And technically speaking, it really actually is. So nothing has changed in regards to a breakout happening in here. Nothing has happened in regards to a major breakdown in the Dow Jones just yet, but it's flashing warning signs. And like I've shown here on bubble pops, that you could have these and then the absolute S hits the fan. But neither of those events have happened, and gold hasn't broken out into an all-time high. I think the biggest warning that for the stock market to say, hey, this one is real, right? This is years of ranging in here. This is years of ranging in here. But if we finally see the Dow shuffling down, and it's kind of well, is this support level going to hold? And then it's still continued higher lows. If we start seeing it go down and then finally gold goes and breaks out and sets the new all-time high, I think that would be a pretty clear signal to me. There you go. We've always seen it. There's the inverse relationship. One enters a bear, the other enters a bull. They can both enter bears at the same time, but they don't both enter bulls at the same time. And so if we end up getting that, there you go. But right now, while it was a big move over there for gold, it's still just technically ranging. So we still have to wait on it. As for crypto throughout the weekend, right, we're talking over here about Bitcoin now at over $30,500 throughout the weekend. There were some movers throughout the weekend in regards to altcoins. Chainlink finally left its 1.5 year long range, right? It's been this one since May of 2022. We're now in October of 2023. That's 1 year and 5 months to be in that range. It finally left the top of the range. We've talked about Wyckoff accumulation in here. If you guys remember, there's been I have a thread over there that I posted on July 8th, diving into a series of different ones. We've seen half of them. After their springs have come, they've already taken out the top of their ranges yet. There's still some that haven't, like Chainlink or SHIB. Chainlink finally just did its as well. Spring still held. Boom, there you go. The range has officially been left or broken out of over here for Chainlink as well. So now, how long this takes to consolidate and the behavior after that. If there's just still more, I'm going to guess there's probably still a little bit more up to it. But still, finally, that range has been left. Looking over there at Solana had its highest weekly close last week. So that's been one that a lot of people are getting optimistic about out there. And, well, really just because it's a leader, right? Anything that's leading the way, it's going to draw in optimism. We've talked about this one on the channel since FTX collapse as well. This is one of those ones that I grabbed during the FTX collapse. Chainlink's one of the ones I've grabbed during the FTX collapse in the springs. And all that good stuff, but we're starting to see things start to march up one by one as ranges are starting to get cleared. Another one to quickly talk about is Binance Coin. Now, I always say this, I don't own any Binance Coin. I do own some Chainlink. I do own some Solana. I don't own any Binance Coin. We've been watching this for quite some time. I've been saying, you know what, this is what ending phases look like when you come to a conclusion in these things. But of course, you got lots of Bitcoiners, lots of people loving to create tons of fear and worry and uncertainty in the market. When it comes to Binance, it's what you're going to get. You're not going to get that at peaks of the market. You're going to get that at the bottoms of the markets. I'm not going to predict how high Binance can go. Exchange tokens, to me, they're just something I don't own. I can sincerely say I do not even know if I've ever owned an exchange token before of any of them. Like not just Binance, but any of them, at least not from my memory. I can't even remember owning one for like a couple of hours or something like that at any point. So I'm not like a big fan of it, but you can clearly see structurally this would be, we're nearing the ending phase, and there's some life starting to breathe into it, while at the same time we're seeing life breathe over here into Chainlink. You're seeing life being breathed over here into Solana, and of course we're seeing life being breathed in over here on Bitcoin, potentially leaving the range after all of this time. So while the stock market is just an absolute wild show, somehow, even though the week ended poorly for the stock market last week, crypto rampaged through the weekend unworried about it. Maybe off the narratives of, who was it, Larry Fink, that said, run to quality or something, right? Oil, gold, Bitcoin. It's very clear that there's the correlation between Bitcoin and the tech industry, but well, are we getting some type of narrative, ETF hype, all that stuff? And well, anyway, show me a chart and I'll tell you the news. There's your chart. This has been the chart for forever, and everything is showing up right on time. But the big thing is going to be now, once we finally get into retracements, should we do so? And one thing to think about too, like I mentioned earlier, is that one thing I really remember from the 2020 and 2021 bull run is that once we finally got here, this is where Elon Musk and Tesla announced that they've added Bitcoin to the balance sheet, and that this is my distribution of my 65% all through here, from between like $45,000 and $58,000 over here for Bitcoin. And one of the questions I got asked so often was, why would you do it now? We just started this bull run. I got that question a lot during that time frame. And the thing was, well, no, it's just you came in really late. And I think that we're going to have a similar situation here, where the market will be up Bitcoin will be up about 150% at this point, and you'll get a lot of that same stuff. Why would you finally flip to worried or bearish currently right now when it's just getting started? And it's like, well, it isn't really just getting started. This has been going on for almost a year now. We just watched a lot of retail concern happening in here. So we'll keep that in mind as we get there. But just kind of, we will, the next leg up, should we get it, will start getting us deeper into the retracement levels in here. And we are finally starting to see some life wake up in here in altcoins. After a year and a half of ranging, we're starting to see some things start to wake up. And things can move very quick. It could just be a month or 2 or 3 months of insanity. We'll see how it goes. But not to think that things are just going to run forever for a year and a half or something, because the magic block reward for your halving date says it's going to happen on this date. Our last cycle was 3 years and 4 months. There's been other cycles that have been 2 years and X amount of days. Like, there is no written rule saying 4-year cycles, and we'll just deal with them as they come. All right, back to markets. DXY 106.22. Dow Jones down 192, S&P down 29, NASDAQ down 128. So a little bit deeper down for the S&P, now at 0.7%, and the NASDAQ at 0.85%. Winners of the day, at least, are GE and Netflix. Netflix coming off of that killer week last week. Losers of the day are Tesla and Roblox and Coinbase. Tesla, of course, had a crushing bad week last week. And Roblox, my daughter was complaining all weekend that it just kept crashing. So if you have kids who were home throughout the weekend, you probably heard the same story too. Roblox crashed again. I think it happened like 7 times on Saturday or something. I was checking Down Detector. I don't know if that has anything to do with that, but boy, I heard a lot about Roblox this weekend. But all right, the big thing, wait, hold on, one more. We haven't done our news yet, but I think we've kind of covered where we're at right now. Bitcoin, the ranging, we've gotten through all retracement levels. We're at a point where in the next couple of days, things could get like really heated really fast, and I sure hope that is the case. Looking over at XRP, it's like we talked about in the 28-minute video put out on Friday. It is likely waiting on that to happen. Stock market, rough start to the stock market. We'll see if that ends up being a double bottom in there. DXY, nothing changed in here. After the 50% retracement, is still just stalled. It is not broken down. It is not broken up, waiting for the market to give a story, as yields have been rising quite substantially. So we actually had, Looks like they've cooled off a little bit, but you did see the 10-year yield above 5% today, and these were up quite a bit more earlier in pre-market, but they've seemed to have cooled down just a little bit as the market got kicked going. So Bitcoin, let's go. Let's break through the high and bring euphoria back to the market. I do believe that is the euphoria place. This is where 12Kers will get chastised and mocked by the market because everybody will flip to bull. XRP waiting on the market, altcoin market waiting on the market, but we do see some early signs of altcoins like Solana and Chainlink. I believe there's other ones that out there were crazy throughout the week. I think Hex was up like 200% throughout the weekend or something like that. So you've got some signs of life being breathed into these things. Stock market rough start. Gold, let's see how you're doing. Gold 1973 down $6.50 from last week's close. We'll see what that does throughout the week after 2 weeks of absolute madness. And then that's it. So Bitcoin, this is the big story. This is the big thing that I'm watching today. All other things are kind of noise right now. DXY, stock market, altcoins, news, everything is noise. Watching this like a hawk to say, are we there? Are we back testing right now? Next candle, can we start moving? Or at least in the next few candles, can we start moving? Like that's where we're at, guys. So, all right. Let's hop into the news here really quick. Looking over here at crypto news, SEC has a 3 to 14% chance of success in the Ripple appeal. Lawyers predict. I actually saw that throughout the weekend. That was Jeremy Hogan posting that over there on Twitter, going through statistical odds of the SEC being able to pull off any of this stuff. So, it's like non-existent. If you look through like their history, there's like a zero. I think the final number came out to 2.3% or something like that, which he said was about the probability of the New York Jets winning the Super Bowl this year. Bitcoin price nears 2023 highs. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. Sam Bankman free trial moves to final stages. Finally, let's get this thing over with. New York sues crypto firms. FTX's Nishad faces 75 years in jail in Grayscale's new Bitcoin filing. Crypto traders urge caution as Bitcoin price hits 3-month high near 31K. Huh. Should I be issuing caution? Not yet. My caution is for when the euphoria comes. So hope that's not the wrong thing to do. I feel pretty good about that we've gotten through all the retraces. I think if we failed in here and started pulling back down into the 27s or mid 27s, yeah, then it'd be like, oh, wait a minute. We got through them, but then we lost all 3 of these. That wouldn't be a good sign. Getting back below like 29.2, that's when I'd probably be like, oh, that wasn't good. As of right now, this is like breakout stuff, so I'm not too concerned yet. That would if we got below 29.2. All right, back here. That's it for Cointelegraph. Cointelegraph, you're in timeout for the things you did last week. Of course, Cointelegraph was the one who announced that. It was the BlackRock iShares ETF approval, and then they were the ones that also said Roblox was accepting XRP as payments back-to-back days. And then, of course, blamed it on all of us, saying, it's what you want to watch. Okay. Bitcoin eyes 31K as gold offers bullish cues. Those are inverse related. Don't be confused. Sam Altman's WorldCoin switches orb rewards plan to boost WLD supply. Sam Bankman-Fried trial. It's the courthouse life for us. Okay. All right, looking over there at broader financial news. Dow futures tumbled 200 points on Monday as the 10-year Treasury yield tops 5%. That was in pre-market that it did top 5%. It has since pulled back below to like 4.96, 4.97. Chevron to buy Hess Corporation for $53 billion in second oil mega merger in weeks. A ground offense by Israel. Okay, we're not going to be able to dissect that. More, Israel stuff on the top of financial news. Like we're supposed to be able to understand that and dissect that. Chevron to buy Hess for $53 billion. 10-year Treasury yield tops 5% for the first time since 2007. Massa gains upper hand over, in Argentina heads. China rattles foreign firms. A global stock slump as Treasury yield hits 5%. There you go. The market's slumping because Treasury yields are finally catching up. The bear steepener. But that's what we have going on. As for Fed rate hikes, so next week, finally, like we've been talking about this for forever, we're finally down to 9 days, which puts us, I believe, on next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is November 1st. That's when we're going to have the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting where they'll discuss the rate hikes and their quantitative tightening plans or easing plans or their outlook for the economy. Right now, as we get ready for that meeting on next Wednesday, the current probabilities are 98.4% that the Fed will be paused and a 1.6% probability that the Fed will cut rates. The market tends to go with whatever the largest probability is here. So I'm sitting here going to agree and just, if this shifts all the way over to here, then I'll say, hey, I think we're going to have a rate cut. I'm going to go with what the majority thinks because the market knows better than me. 98% chance that we are just going to see another pause. This will now be the third out of the last 4 meetings where the Fed has paused. And the market may be sniffing it out that it is done. Overnight repos continue draining down to $1.138 trillion, coming off of that peak over there at $2.5 trillion. But the market has just not cared. It has just been... BNB, we already covered all of that. I think that's pretty much it for today. This is the big thing. The market was green. Even all the altcoin market was green throughout the weekend. We got kind of got a little bit of a mix happening over here. Still, the altcoin market caps are in the green. Others, total 2 and total 3 are in there. Total market cap, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything's in the green. I think I even saw Ethereum above $1,700 this weekend at one point. But now we're waiting for that big moment where this, I sincerely believe, 32K is the euphoria line, and that's where we're trying to get to. And if we can get above that, I think we start seeing headlines. And we're very close, and hopefully, as everything has pointed to, we get it, right? And so, you got all the daily moving averages got closed above. Your weekly moving averages got closed above last week. We can throw those on real fast. Right, there you go. There's all your dailies, right? Everything on the dailies got closed above on the week, and then over here on the weekly time frame. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Every weekly moving average has finally been cleared above. Rock on. So, get everything back on the screen. And now we wait patiently and say, are we there? Because we might be. We might be there. So, all right, guys, that's it. Bitcoin up, crypto up, although slightly mixed over here in the altcoin market. Stock market crushing to start the day. We'll see if it gets itself a turnaround. We saw some altcoins pump throughout the weekend like Hex, Chainlink, and Solana. Gold slightly down, DXY kind of flat. Not much to draw from those except for Bitcoin. Here we go. Are we going to enter into the optimism zone? I think is the way I'd describe it. Going through 2018, get beyond that point of where it feels like someone's standing on your chest and to the point where you actually have legitimate optimism within yourself. And I do believe 32K is that line. And I believe we are set up for something similar to finally cross it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the chat. We got over 2,000 people in here today, likely because prices are up today. If you could, hit the like button. It's the #1 way to support the channel. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Let's hop into Super Chats in the chat room, and then we'll see if there's any good questions out there. We'll try to get them answered. Right out the gates, Alpha Beta Soup, with 5 memberships gifted, 5 BCB memberships. My brother, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. And then Gator, you too, man. Gator gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you guys. Your community is absolutely fantastic. I appreciate it, you guys. If your name flipped green and you were gifted it, you have access to emojis and you got a little green arrow next to your name. And we do a members only live stream about once a month, which I believe we'll have to be having this week. So, all right. Thank you, Gator. Thank you, Alpha Beta Soup. Oscar Hernandez, my man, super sticker right there. Thank you very much, fist bump. And then Philip Mann gifted a BCB membership as well. Thank you, Philip. I appreciate it. Alpha Trader Soup. Hey, PCB, when last did you check SUI and OP supply and market cap chart? My expectations for them is down a bit. 5 days left until the Yeah, I woke up my daughter and I did that. So I don't know if you really want this, but I'm going to do it. We do our little good morning songs as I wake her up. And I go, all right, like, I'm only doing this because you told me to. I don't want to. Wake up. It's 5 days of the weekend. If you haven't caught that story yet, you'll hear about it again at some point. SUI, I haven't been looking at those lately. The thing I did notice, like, we got some updated developer data on SUI, and you compare the last developer data to this developer data, massive difference. So I don't know. I think the picture being painted over there and the developer growth happening over there in SUI has certainly changed. So if you haven't checked that out yet, take a look over there on Electric Capital's developer report on SUI. Yuck. As for OP, so you have to understand SUI and OP both have massive inflation, massive. So for me personally, the amount that I've allocated to them is just like Hail Mary amounts, stuff I'm willing to take like hero or zeros on. The supplies on those are horrendous. Or the tokenomics on them are very bad. So your expectations are down a bit. Yeah. Unless the market drips to the upside right now before an opportunity for all that supply to hit, the longer it goes on, the harder it's going to be for them. And then whether or not, I think one of the hard things is whether or not layer 2 tokens, right, really matter a whole lot, right? OP is optimism. It's a layer 2 for Ethereum to help transactions be faster and cheaper. And is OP, does it gain a tremendous amount of value from performing those actions, right? Jory says, USDT plus USDC plus DAI dominances are on diagonal support. It is do or die. I feel you, bro. I think that's an inside joke, and I appreciate the joke. Thank you, Jory. JR Flight 10. Cosmos over Link springed it together. How's Cosmos looking? Right, Cosmos. Oh, right. Cosmos is one of those ones that hasn't gone yet. Cosmos and SHIB. I think those are the last two in that spring thread. Right. I think we've gotten like 4 of them to spring out and get out of their ranges. Still waiting on SHIB and Cosmos looking the same. Wait, yeah, SHIB and Cosmos. Yeah, they're still the same. Michael J. Love, hit the like button. It is free. Thank you, Michael J. Love. We're at 725 likes on 2,000 viewers. Oscar Hernandez with the super sticker. Oscar, thank you. It was generous, brother. I appreciate the support, my man. And then Courtney Smith gifted a BCB membership. Thank you, Courtney. Good to see you. Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like button and I'll sell my bag so markets can pamp. FYI, don't be that guy buying pizza with Bitcoin. That's the inside joke. If you're not around here, when people ask when moon, it's always, well, it's the day you sell your bags. The day you sell it is the day we moon, and we're all just waiting on you to do it. Brave Sigma says, I don't think people holding 100,000 plus XRP are prepared for the fee to sell in the $8 to $10 range. Oh my gosh, it's insane. Huh? Prepared for the fee? There is no fee. I don't know what you're talking about. Ollie Stokes says, can I get your opinions on Riot and Mara stock charts? We're doing more crypto related. I appreciate the support, the $1.99 super chat, Ollie, but I don't think that the channels, I don't even know what those are. Right. I don't think most of the channel knows what that is. I don't even know what that is. It's not crypto related. He thinks it's. Michael says, I think it's a bad joke. Maybe it was just a bad joke. Sorry, I'm trying to look at these other charts that you asked about just to see if they're related. I don't know what these are. Maybe these are Are these Riot and Marathon? Are they Bitcoin miners? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's going to be up to you, man. Because the thing for me, I'm just a natural bear on Bitcoin miners. Like my thoughts are they eventually go to zero, uh, in long term. They seem to do well if Bitcoin's in a bull run. Like I'm looking at Mara. And so we'll talk about it for a second. Right, that's all the price history that you have. This is what like a retrace happening in here, right? So the entire bull run is just a retrace. But like when I think of miners, and right, this is going to be coming from a naive, dumb view. Their profitability gets reduced and reduced and reduced and reduced and reduced unless Bitcoin's price skyrockets to the upside. But then what happens? More competition comes in, right? And so they just are naturally going to make less and less and less and less and less money, and then their equipment's going to become completely outdated, and any profits that they have, the profits got to be rolled back into buying new equipment, and like, essentially, like eventually they're going to get completely crushed out of the market. And the way to think about that is like how retail, normal, everyday people who used to be able to mine Bitcoin on their personal computers at home or doing it with graphics cards in their houses and mine Bitcoin, eventually it got so competitive they got knocked out, right? You can't do that. You can't go mine Bitcoin right now profitably. Like you just can't do it. You need to have a big, big, big operation to attempt to try to be profitable on mining Bitcoin. And eventually that I just view it as that's the next step for all these companies. They will all get knocked out and someone else will come in and steal the show. Whether that's a good, correct view to have or a bad view to have, it's just my view. And that just looks like a retracement to me. And I think that's probably where it's headed, to the ground. Scapulith says, it feels like it's this certain time of the market where chat becomes partly weirded to read. And I'm not talking about McMuffins and bananas. Yeah, everybody's just in here having their own chats. Okay, cool. So we're at 37 minutes, guys. I think that's really just the kind of where we're at today, getting ready for Bitcoin to go for the breakout. And can it get it? It's through all the retracement levels. It's through all the daily averages. It's through all the weekly averages, which I don't really care about. Like moving averages, okay. Structure, it's price levels that matter to me the most. Your moving averages are not going to find you the top. They're just not, right? They become irrelevant once you get through them. And now then the challenge comes into the retracement levels. But right now we're through everything. We're through all fibs and we're through all dailies and all weeklies. Can we get the breakout to happen here in the next couple of days and maybe in just the next few hours? Time's gonna be impossible to predict, but you would think in the next couple of days, it sure looks like it's continuing. If it continues its velocity, we're out. Let's get weird. Let's get weird. David says, BCB, what alts normally lead the way? It varies. It varies. The market keeps changing in that dynamic. What you used to see, like in 2017, is you see Litecoin lead the way. But I don't believe that to be the case so much anymore. Where is it? Mythic OG says, if we don't get the breakout, where do we see Bitcoin dropping to? I really think we're like heading for it. So like if we end up breaking down below the 618 retracement level in here, I start to get a little concerned and say, hey, is there something more serious happening here in the stock market? Which, hey, we got to bounce, guys. We'll come back to the stock market here in just a minute. I would find it very unusual to think that we would actually pull down from here unless there was something really wrong with the market. This structure does not typically do that. Eliminate this. Just don't even care about this. Just to do this, have the crashing structure, right? So this is why, it was not hard for people who understood the crashing structure and why all this was the bottom, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 completed crashing structure. We saw it on the daily time frame. We saw it on the hourly time frame. We even counted it there on the minute time frame that we got it. The bottom was marked. Then waddling sideways below that wave 6 the whole time, right? And then you're out, right? So it's like Wyckoff out. I just don't think we'll pull back. If we do, my big concern, I'd be concerned below 29.2, really concerned below 28. We got below 28, be like, dude, what is going on here? This is bizarre. And we lose timing and everything. So, we can draw. When I get asked those theoretical things, it's always like, hey, what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And then 90% of those will not happen. You know what I mean? Only one thing is going to happen. And it's like I talk about people who worry and they worry and they go on a job interview and they're worried of all the questions they're going to get asked and they get asked none of them. And the interview went entirely different. The interview went fine. But you kind of worried about all the bad scenarios that would have ended up happening. No matter what, the market's usually going to do a variation of whatever your mind didn't quite imagine exactly. This thing looks like this, right? But is it precise? No, it's slightly different, right? It is slightly different in crashing structure, slightly different, right? Roll back up, slightly different. Is this precisely exactly the same? No, it's slightly different. But otherwise, they're all still on track. A breakdown below, back into the 27s or something would be pretty concerning. But not right now, guys. Go lose all the moving averages, right? Go lose all the daily moving averages. Go lose all the weekly moving averages and get back down into fibs. Yeah, there's probably some concern there, but not at all. Lynx says, do you see any reason chart-wise for XRP 589? No, right? The actual 589. So 589 was started by Bearable Guy 123 back in 2018, where he said we would get to $589 by the end of the year in 2018. Of course, it did not happen, but the riddlers continued for 5 years after that, and the riddle just keeps changing to say that 589 has a different meaning. And so it's just constant riddling and changing. It clearly says $589 end of year 2018. It's so clear as day. But no, the magic of the riddle has to be real. So the riddle just keeps changing, right? No, I don't see any reason for 589 anywhere on anything. Except maybe my follower count's almost there. I've almost caught up to Brad Garlinghouse. I think I'm 579. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, back in 2019, it was hey, is it possible? And we went through it. But yeah, those were the early days of BCB. We used fibs, right? I think that's what we did. Or no, we used fractals. But no. I just don't delete my content, right? I don't have to do that. A lot of people delete their crap. I don't care. Hey, BCB, love the content. Any thoughts on rotating Link into XRP? Do you have any particular price level you're paying attention to? Yeah, I'll be rotating Link. BCB, what price do you expect XRP to get to before end of year, right? So the end of year predictions are always stupid. And that's not to take a shot at you, Demo. You're looking for a when price, what to in a particular time. The whole market's got to move and the whole market's got to get going, right? We have end of year predictions every year. Even Bitcoin, end of year, right? Crashes, end of year, right? And I would not focus on end of year. It makes really good titles, and you're going to see a lot of videos put out that say end of year stuff. Just don't focus on it. Just telling you from experience of making videos for almost 4 years, right? I know what the popular stuff is. And even I, as a content creator, have grown up a lot over the years, right? I mean, just a lot less. Even I should make my stuff more clickbaity. I probably will one day. It's click stuff. BCB, do you think DXY will go to 103? I'm gonna have a hard time guessing on DXY. I'm gonna remain more of an observer right now. What do you currently see right now? You see it's hit the 50%. You see it's got a lower low. You see it's into a retracement. If this breaks down, yeah, I'd probably go into the 103s. But I'm not gonna play guess with DXY. I'm a little humbled by DXY. So I'm going to kind of stay in that mindset. I got this right? Like we spent a whole year waiting for that, and that this would be the reversal. It went a little higher than I expected. I actually expected us to really stall out right here, and then this go on for like a year or like 6 months of sideways down in here. It went a little higher than my expectations. So that's why I've kind of got my head scratching a little bit. Maybe it is just doing the ABC right here, ABC. It just is happening from a higher level. Definitely expected the breakdown for anybody who watched Markets in the Morning for 6 months. We had the little line on here all 6 months, and we always pointed to 99 to 100. Nailed it perfectly. It did break, and it did bounce at 99.5. After that, this is where all the confusion, because this is officially now a range, right? So when you want to say, hey, let's guess how price is going to behave within a range, it can behave very differently in many different ways in a range. So I'm going to refrain from doing all the guessing of guessing ranges. I would be more surprised to see the DXY like break down now at this point before eventually getting higher. But the way it could play out could be more like A, B, C, then gets back to there, and then finally goes down. But I would be more surprised to see that. I would be very surprised. Bitcoin just about at 30,700. Anthony Munoz says, BCB, thank you for the awesome course. I'm learning a lot from it. You're the man. Let's go, dude. Let's go. BCB.com. BCBacker.com. Not BCB. BCBacker. Okay, I'm missing some super chats. I'm so sorry. Oscar had said, hit the like button and I'll sell my bags so we can all pump. And don't be the guy who buys pizza with Bitcoin. Brave Signal says, I don't think the people holding 100 XRP are prepared for the fee to sell in the $8 to $10 range. Oh my goodness, that's insane. Okay. Already got Ollie. He's asking about Riot and Mara Bitcoin miner stocks. Oscar Hernandez said, big happy birthday for Lurker, aka Ryan Rendon. Ryan Rendon, happy birthday, my dude. I've met Ryan a couple of times. Tom G. Hey, BCB. Love the content. Any thoughts on rotating Link into XRP? Do you have any particular price level you're paying attention to? Well, what we've continuously seen, and that's why we keep talking about Bitcoin up here in this area, right here, this 38,000, and really kind of getting cautious on, is that we do keep seeing a lot of coins have struggling there that have gotten up. You saw XRP struggle when it got up into that like pre-Luna collapse area. You saw Bitcoin Cash struggle as it got up into that pre-Luna price level. Chainlink's approaching that level right now, right? This is the whole Luna collapse area right in here, right? Pre-Luna collapse, right? In this area is where all the struggling is happening at. So the big question is, is this just going to be a spring back for Link, or is it going to be the start of a bigger trend in here? I posted something on Twitter throughout the weekend, the similarities of how this was just like Ethereum back in 2018, 19, and 20, and this is what the start of it all looked like, right? And you have to be mindful of people here, like when people are asking questions like, hey, what's your end of year prediction? Like that's such a short time period, right? You're looking like, hey, what's your prediction for the next 60 days of price action, right? So you have a lot of people who buy straight up lines and they need lines to continue straight up. It could consolidate for 3 months sideways and then move up to a whole new level, right? Then consolidate for 3 months and then move up to a whole new level. So you have to kind of have what are your expectations are on longer term time frames. Do you think it's going to struggle in these same price levels that everything has been struggling at? Or are you a bigger macro person? And if your bigger macro view is, this whole market's going to go into some longer bull run for crypto, Well, Chainlink's set up very similar to what Ethereum looked like back in 2018, 19, and 20. But the struggles of everything have really been in this area right here. So it's like, anywhere between, $12 to $18 for Chainlink. That's been the struggle area for a lot of the market. And I suspect that will be a struggle area for Bitcoin as well, which is at, 38 to 50K level. We saw it for Bitcoin Cash too, and a lot of the market. So rotating, do what you want. But as for me, I will do it again. I will sell my Bitcoin and I will rotate it again. While everybody FOMOs Bitcoin. Be like, hey man, y'all were screaming for 12K for a year and a half. You were saying, don't fight the Fed. Don't fight the Fed. We wrote it up. And then it'll be time to let go. Okay. I have my own view about Bitcoin. Take it for a grain of salt. Do whatever you want. Maybe Bitcoin's going to change the world. I'm just a person who thinks it probably won't. And let's go ahead and get some likes to offset those downvotes that I just got. GraphPunk says this is a 6-year cycle with 2 pumps for alts, right? So you're going with the concept of that we're starting a new super cycle like we did last time, even if it was right. Like, that the 6 years was delayed from a 1 year, right? Like, let's do this. Just mess with you a little bit. It's going to be LX. Really mess with you good. Okay. This super cycle right here, right? 314 days. 744 days. It's over 2x longer from bottom to top. It's 2,000 days. It's 3 times longer. Uh-oh. What if you're 3 times longer than that one? My chart doesn't even like it. What if your whole next super cycle takes until 2039? Because this whole super cycle took 6 years, right? So I'm assuming that's why you're saying 6 years, right? Because we took 6 years on this super cycle. It's going to take 6 years for the whole next super cycle. You're saying 2 alt seasons, right? If we do something like this, there's an alt season on the break of the all-time high. Then there's an alt season at the Pico top, right? Right. So that kind of gives you a little bit of perspective here. For those who didn't understand the crash, retrace, reaccumulation, extension, bull run, that's what you got, right? But I don't know. 6 years, I don't know. I think the market is waking up to. I almost retweeted it this morning, but I didn't do it. The lady on the airplane, that mother effer is not real. The 4-year cycle thing, it's not real, right? Like the last cycle was 3 years and 4 months. How do you explain this peak, these peaks, right? How long is this one? Right? There's your halving, right where it's always supposed to be, but this is 903 days. 903 divided by 30, divided by 12. 2.5 years. That's a 2.5 year cycle. So we have a 2.5 year cycle, 4 year cycle, and then a 3 or 4 month cycle. It's not 4 year cycles. So yeah. But the stock market happened to be on the exact same cycle schedule as that. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Guys, I'm not going to give you too much of a hard time. I think it's actually an exciting time in the market right now. And I think we're just waiting for breakout over here for Bitcoin. And hopefully when we check in tomorrow, we're all kind of hooting and hollering, having one of those fun live streams. And then maybe by Wednesday, it's Wednesday, my dudes, it actually is euphoric. And like to just kind of give you an idea, like I tried to last Friday to give you an idea of the emotional like level of this. Getting through that level is where you'll see most people remove that layer of worry and pessimism. And I think we will finally completely shake off the 12Kers above 32K. Hey, BCP, if and when XRP breaks out, where do you think the first big resistance is? 65? That seems reasonable. 65, yeah. That seems reasonable. I'd say it's a good job. All right, there we go, guys. $30,676 to kick off Monday morning. Oh, yeah, I said I wanted to get back to the stock market. Indexes are green, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. There you go. The stock market has flipped green. NVIDIA, GE, and Coinbase lead the way with Ford, Tesla, and Roblox at the bottom, but all those are down less than 1%. NASDAQ turns positive, 0.13%. The S&P, 0.06%. And the Dow Jones sitting pretty much at even to up. There you go, up 0.006. Gold at 1975. Silver over there at 2311, down a quarter today. But decent rebound happening over there in stocks. I don't know if any news happened or something like that. Whatever. We were at a support level. Double bottom? Maybe so. We'll find out, as crypto did just fine throughout the weekend. And we're waiting for Bitcoin to get its big breakout. I think that's the big highlight of today. Can Bitcoin get its breakout today? Because we are through all retracement levels. So there we go. I think I've got through everything in here, guys. Okay. Hey, BCB. Lucas says, hey, BCB, any tips on how to offset short-term capital gains? I'm up to 37%. Seems steep, and holding might miss the top. Thanks. Well, if you are a high-income earner, what do you have to make to do over? I think you have to make over 500 grand, 600 grand to be in the 37% category. Your capital gain, your short-term capital gains are going to, first of all, you need to speak to an accountant before doing any of this. Do not take anything that I'm saying as accountant advice, because I have my own accountant who comes over and we literally have to spend 2 days going through all my crypto stuff every year. And I have to pay 4 digits for just my crypto stuff for my accountant. But I do know in the United States that your short-term capital gains are going to be at whatever your income level is at and what your federal income tax rate is at. So I don't know off the top of my head what the numbers are. If you make 100 grand a year, you're probably being taxed in the 22 to 24% tax rate, right, for that income. So all those capital gains are going to be on top of whatever, on top of that. If you're making over 500 grand, then you're going to be in that 37% category where those capital gains would be taxed at that 37%. But it's whatever your income bracket is at. And if you go sell $1 million and you make $1 million worth of profit, right? Everything beyond those particular levels. Let me see. Let's see. Federal income tax brackets. This is not tax advice, guys. I'm just going to give you some dingus math really fast. All right. if you're single, okay? I don't know what percentage of my viewers are single or married. I don't have that stats. I do know 95% are bros. They are the dudes. 5% are the ladies. But what percentage are married, I'm not sure. We can do 2023 tax brackets, single filers, right? So let's say you go sell $1 million and you make $1 million profit on your crypto, right? That's your short-term capital gains. Everything beyond 578,000, so that 1 million, anything above the 578, that's going to be taxed at that 37% rate. Anything below 578, so between 231 and 578, that's actually taxed at 35%. The 182 to 231 is taxed at 32%. And you could see 24% for below. So on your first 578,000, you're going to be taxed $174,000. So 174 over 578, which means you pay about 30% taxes of that first 578, right? Then everything beyond that is 37%. So there is like a tiered system until you finally get to that 37%. But it is life, man. If you're going to take short-term capital gains, you're going to have that, right? You know, long-term capital gains are stuff when you hold them for over a year, they are taxed at different levels, right? And it still is based on like your income level, but I do believe it maxes out at like 20%. So people who, you know, who held onto their Bitcoin for 9 months and then sold it at 24.8K to get 23K, congrats, you reset your long-term capital gains to try to get that. So you sacrificed 17% of taxes you're going to have to pay later to try to get a 3% cheaper price. But yeah, understanding your taxes and speaking to your accountant in your situation is important. So you should do that. But offset short-term capital gains, it just depends if you take advantage of stuff when, you know, if you've locked in any losses and you can roll over any losses, right? But you need to talk to an accountant on that. I'm not going to give you accountant advice. But I hope I gave you some info. Parity Narin. Let's go back here. Bitcoin, how you doing? 30,650. Hey, BCB, if and when XRP breaks out, where do you think the first... Okay, you already got that one. All right. 6-year cycle. There we go, guys. We're at an hour. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. I know I did, watching this price action happen over here in the crypto market, watching things like Chainlink break out, watching Bitcoin get through all the retracement levels, and watching Solana try to take a stab at it with a couple of other randos going like Hex and stuff like that. I'm just excited to see some price action coming back to this market and some excitement to this market. It's nice to see that stock market make that U-turn this morning. I don't know what the DXY did during that time. DXY back below 106. Hey, 105.94. Fingers crossed that DXY can get itself back below that 106. And of course, as we do see that, we're seeing some action over here. Wouldn't that be funny, you guys? If DXY is below 106 and that's when Bitcoin breaks out. I'm just saying. Otherwise, exciting time here in the market. We'll see how things go throughout the rest of the day. But we are set up very similar to what happens when breakouts do come. Rodrigo Pimentel says, everyone here wants to become a crypto millionaire in this bull run. We are worried about a future of crypto in the long run with this recession thing. Yep. I agree. There should be worry. There should be worry. There's no historical data to go back to see how does Bitcoin perform during a real recession. Right? YouTube videos and everything like that will tell you Phoenix rising from the ashes. That's not based in any reality. We don't know, right? We know that, and that's why I wrote this letter right here, this newsletter. Bitcoin's secret dance, is it money or tech? And showing that real correlation between the tech industry and crypto. And so if we see a drawdown in tech, how will Bitcoin do? Will the narrative hold enough? Because the narrative hasn't done it enough. If the narrative was so strong, it would have, the laser eyes and diamond hands crowd wouldn't have bought the Pico top. It would have kept going if that narrative was true. But it wasn't. It was the top. New Burr 39 says, I'm worried about what to marinate my New York strip in tomorrow. You'll figure it out, buddy. I have faith in you. Okay. So there we go, guys. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up. We're about an hour in. I want to thank you all so much for the support. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you could hit the like button before you exit the door out, I'd appreciate it. It's the #1 way to support the channel. Of course, you could check out bcbacker.com. This is where I put all my heart and effort into this year. I'm behind closed doors, busting my behind, putting all together all this content in here. Go through a lot of stuff, just kind of like the YouTube channel in here, kind of trying to explain things in an easy to understand way, give you a grasp on being able to do your own charting and a really good historical basis on understanding on how this market has behaved historically with Bitcoin cycles and altcoin behavior, dominance tokenomics, crowd behavior, meme coins, and emotional management in the most volatile market in the world. One of the most important things to have is the emotions. And I think we see that. You see that with the 12Kers showing up at the bottom. They're quiet now. And it's because it's just part of the emotions. And I come off rude. I come off aggressive. And like I describe it sometimes as me like trying to shake you and be like, wake up. Wake up. But that's just me trying to help. It's me trying to get you out of that mindset. But I think now it's actually time to be pretty exciting. So fingers crossed we get the breakout, guys. Otherwise, check out bcbacker.com if you're looking for something to do today. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Why do I not remember my outro? This happens to me like once every 2 weeks. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.